Hey everybody, it's Paul from Alexandria Knife Sharpening and Laser Engraving. Wanted to show you guys something I was doing with ChatGPT. So I wanted to make some fun stickers for sharpening, and I wanted to combine a couple things that I've always really liked to see if I could turn it into just kind of a fun project to make some stickers out of. And also, I'm thinking some coasters. So I've always been a big fan of 1950s pinup girl art. I love all of Gil Elvgren's stuff. If you've ever seen his drawings and things, they've been on all kinds of stuff over the years, but he just had a really fun, playful way of always exhibiting his pinup girls. And I told a lot of you that I used to do a lot of photography. One of the things that I did a few times was with some of the models that I worked with, I love to recreate some of his shots with the models. I decided I wanted to take some of that inspiration from Gil Elvgren's style art and a sticker that I saw from TSProf. So this is the sticker that was from TSProf, this happy wife, sharp knife, happy wife. And I wanted to just add to it, kind of make it my own thing. So I told ChatGPT that I really like 1950s pinup art, gave it a picture of Gil Elvgren's drawing, added the sticker, and said I want to kind of combine these into some fun stickers. The first thing it did was it copied way too much of Gil's work. So I didn't want that to be the case. You can see this girl is pretty much exactly the same as the picture I uploaded. So I don't want, I'm sure his stuff is copyrighted. Even though I think he's long past, he probably has family members or whoever who are still benefiting from it. So I didn't want it to be a copy. I just wanted it to be the inspiration. So then I told it exactly that. I said, let's not copy the girl exactly, but let's use her as inspiration, the outfit, the sticker, and that's the kind of feel we're going for. And then it gave me this, which I really liked all these stickers. I loved every one of these with the girl with the grill, sharp knife, happy life. I didn't love the paws. I don't know why it threw in. I don't know if that's dog paws or whatever, but yeah. So we got some dog paws there. So the next thing I told it to do was, hey, let's take the dog paws out because I for whatever reason it felt it needed some dog paws. I didn't like the dog paws, so we took the dog paws out, and then I was happy with it. The only other thing I said, I want my website on there. So let's add alxsharpen.com on there. And that was the first one. So then I did another favorite Gil Elvgren drawing of mine where this girl is hanging a picture and obviously hit her thumb. And that's what I always loved about his artwork. It's always humorous. It's sexy, pretty girls, but it's also fun stuff from the 50s, like she's trying to hang a picture and obviously hit herself in the thumb with the hammer. Again, I told it to do that. And again, not too bad, but you can see again, it totally copied picture and the girl again. And I was like, nope, nope, nope. So I had to go back in again and said, yeah, I don't want it that, I don't want it to copy it exactly. I want it to be just inspired by it. And we got a little bit closer and I told it I wanted it to be fun, but also sexy. But I thought it was a little too far. So we have we have sharp knives make me wet. That was a little bit more than I was going for here. And chop it good. I like it rough. So yeah, ChatGPT, you went a little bit further to the dirty mind side than I was planning on. I gave it some more prompts and said, hey, let's cut that back a little bit. I liked the idea of the, oops, I injured myself type of thing. So I said, I told her, I said, the sticker on the top left, let's change your hair to blonde. Let's change the robe. let's put a knife in her hand instead of a hammer, make it like she accidentally cut her finger. And I'm not sure if you guys can see it here, but let me zoom in on this. Yeah, you see, it literally like chopped her fingers off. Again, not exactly what I was going for. I didn't want my model's fingers to be coming off. Again, I went back and prompted it again, but I really love the other stickers. So I went in and I said, "Hey, let's do away with the sign that a sharp knife makes me wet. That's way more than I'm looking for here." So we took the sign out completely, but I did think it was kind of humorous. A pretty girl in the bathtub holding a knife. I like the top one where she's like cutting up a charcuterie board and giving you that sexy look there. Better than takeout. Loved that one. Thought that was great. But the top left one, I'm sorry, but I just had to laugh at that. I was like, oh, that's like a horror show. Yeah, I don't want to have anyone concerned that they're going to cut their fingers off. We were going for kind of playful. Oops, I nicked myself. Not I chopped. She only she only has three fingers in the picture. So I gave it some more prompts again and told it, let me drop this down here. I said on the top left, that's far too much blood. We don't want missing fingers. Let's just keep it a tiny cut and let's make it a kitchen background from the 1950s, but everything else is great. And now we start getting a lot closer to what I was looking for. So there, she's got all her fingers. It's like, oh, maybe nicked herself a little bit. Wow, that's sharp. Absolutely perfect. Gave her the blonde hair, different robe, and again, once I saw this and I was completely happy. This is what I was going for. Love the 1950s kitchen. Fantastic. That is one I am really, really happy with. Then I decided I used to do a lot of photography with real models. And a model that I used to love to work with is this wonderful young lady, a beautiful girl named Allie. I used to love photographing Allie. She was so much fun. But you can see, beautiful girl. And we were in this old schoolhouse, really old antique schoolhouse in Virginia. And I took this picture of Allie just, dressed up like sexy teacher. And there's a couple other pictures from here that I really like from this shoot. But I was like, you know what? This will make such a great sharpening sticker. Let's work with this one. So I said, okay, I wanted to keep the same theme, 1950s pinup. Here's Allie, one of my favorite models I used to work with. Can you turn this shot into, something fun? And we had, so it said lesson of the day, a dull knife is a man's worst, homework, nightmare. The books on the table say knife sharpening 101, sharp is sexy, pay attention, this won't hurt a bit. And I liked it. I didn't like that it cut off the little top of the red line going all the way around, because I'm going to either make this into coasters for the UV printer, or I think I'm going to do stickers too for the stuff that I send out to the sharpening guys. And, most of the sharpening community is guys. We do have women sharpeners. So maybe I'll have to make some stickers for the girls too. And then we just tweaked it from here. So I liked everything there. It fixed the red going all the way around. It did change her skin a little bit. I didn't want it to do that exactly. And then I also didn't love the what was written on the board. It didn't make really complete sense to me, but I liked the somewhat humor going on there. So we just tweaked it a little bit, and I wanted it, instead of to say homework writing assignment, a dull knife is a man's worst ... Like, okay, you have to write, a writing assignment on this. And then we got the perfect version there, but you'll see it again. I don't know why ChatGPT does this. Sometimes they cut off the top. So I had to once again tell it, hey, don't cut off the top, make it a complete round sticker with the red. And you can see there's our beautiful Miss Allie in a cartoon version, 1950s kind of pinup look to her. as a sexy teacher teaching industrial arts knife sharpening in school. And I'm really happy with that one. So that is done with that. I just wanted to show you that. And I'm going to show you the finished product. I'm going to be printing, what do they call them? UDT, is it, or something? They're some type of transfer stickers. I haven't done it with my Eufymake printer at all yet, but you can print on like a sticker, and then the sticker gets laminated, and then you can peel it off, and it's sticky on one side, and then you can stick it to things. So cups, larger things that you may not be able to fit in the printer and print directly on. This is going to be some coasters, so this will absolutely fit perfectly on a coaster. We're going to print a couple of these out, and I'll show you the finished product. But I just wanted to show you how with AI, you can go in, whether it be a photograph of your own or even stuff for inspiration from other things that you've seen, and work with it and change. You do want to be careful there, like you saw there. I would not want to do something like the very first one here, because that is clearly a 100% copy of part of Gil Elfgren's work. So just be careful when you use AI and make sure it's really substantially changing stuff. Use it for inspiration, use it for ideas, but don't copy people's other copyrighted work. That would never work out great for you, unless it's something like the photograph that I took. Like, this is my photograph that I took here, so I have all the rights in the world to that. And fortunately, I have a whole bunch of pretty models that I've worked with other really cool pictures that I'm going to use to make stuff with. But that's just another way you can do it if you use your own photographs. Or you can just have AI generate it too, because AI could have completely generated something like this too. If you just said, I want a young teacher in a plaid dress in an old time schoolhouse with glasses on, and if you gave it all the right prompts, it would probably give you something really amazing and very similar to what we see here. So that's one of the fun things about AI. Let's get on to the Eufy and start doing some printing and see if we can make some killer stickers and coasters out of these. So I just clicked start. You can see it sent the artwork over to the printer. If you go in settings, you can make it so you don't have to run over and hit the start button on the machine. You can just click the start button on your computer, and in 11 minutes it'll be done, and I'll show you when it's done. All right, it just went off. Should be done. Let's see. Oh, look at that. These just blow my mind. They are so amazing how these coasters come out. Let me get this under some light for you here. I mean, look at that. Is that just amazing? That is absolutely amazing. And it's so cool to turn a picture of one of the models I photographed into like some very cool 1950s cartoony art. I love it. Love it. This Eufymake printer, guys, is absolutely just amazing. There's so many cool things you can do with it. Here's a handful more of coasters I've been working on. It's just a lot of fun. There's just so many fun things you can do with it. Okay, I wanted to give you a couple more tips. So we're back over here at the Eufymake software. It just detected my coaster. You can see I have a silicone mat down, and I've talked about this before. There's a couple different ways to preserve your Eufymake sheets that you have to stick to the bed. They're about $4.50 a pop. One thing you can do is you can throw just a regular old silicone mat down. So this is a Amazon basic silicone mat. I got 2 of them for like $9. The beauty is the paint won't stick to it. So you can still see a little bit of the outline of the ring where I did the last 2 coasters on there, but you can clean it off with some water and a little scrubbing, and the UV inks will not stick really well to silicone, But the nice thing about the silicone mats is they're also sticky, so I don't have to tape the coasters down. They stay right in place on that silicone mat, and everything detects and works just fine. The other method that I've shown is using a UV transfer paper. You can stick that right on top of the mat, and that works well also. I've actually found these Amazon Basics silicone mats are just fantastic, and they're fast, and I got 2 of them. If it keeps building up in a certain area, I can just move the tile to another spot, and that's all I did here. So we're just going to click finish here. I want to talk to you about some of the ink modes. We're going to print this green one here. I'm just going to drop that right in here, and we'll do a quick adjustment on it just to make sure we like the way it's going to print. Now you can have it also set to auto align things, but I actually like to align these myself. That's just me. Everybody's a little different as far as that goes, but that's how I like to do it. I like to kind of work on the alignment myself. So you can see it sometimes gets it right and sometimes it doesn't. And we want that there. Because you can see we got our little, my website there at the bottom. It was kind of cutting all that out. And it's actually, you can see it's a tan ring outside of this green ring. So we should be seeing the tan there. And it's just, we want to make sure we're going up to the edge of that tile there. There we go, just like that. So that's kind of how that's supposed to look. That kind of gives you a pretty good idea there. And I just want to make sure I don't have any exposed tile not covered. So I'm fine with a little bit of overspray on the tile just to make sure the tile is completely covered. You know, and that looks pretty good. There's a little bit white showing there, but I don't think that's my tile. I think that's the artwork. Yeah, so we're gonna just pull that a little tiny bit past the white. Just kind of triple checking here. Yeah, and that should be good. Now I want to show you the different ink modes. So if we come over here to the right hand side, you will see we have lots of different ink modes available. Anytime you can print on something white, you can save on white ink big time. And white ink is the thing that this printer uses the absolute most of. Now, I knew this before I got into the UV printing. Someone who I reach out to who does a lot of UV printing told me, make sure you get a lot of the white ink because you're going to use that the most. And he also said the gloss ink, but I made sure I ordered extra white cartridges, and you definitely do use white ink the most because it lays down white before it does the color layers. Now you can save on a ton of white ink if you use white things. White tiles are fantastic to engrave because they don't need to make a whole bunch of layers of white to cover something before it does the color layers. You can even skip it. A lot of people don't even, if they have a white object, they won't even put any down. Now, I like to do at least one layer of the white ink, even if it's a white object when I'm doing tiles, because these are uncoated tiles. And I do want them to feel like they're completely coated in the UV inks. But what's really nice is they added a custom section where you can tell it exactly how many layers to do of each. And that's why we have all of these options. And you'll also see there's options for no color or no white color. And you might be wondering, like, well, why would I do that? If you wanted a transparent sticker, if you just do the color inks, your CMYK, that's your colored inks, and you put it on something clear, it would be transparent. So if you wanted a sticker that you could stick on a window that could be seen from both sides, then you wouldn't use the white ink. So that's why we have white and CMYK. That's why there's CMYK for things that you would want transparent. We have gloss varnish. I believe the reason they have this selection in here, I even used it by itself. I think that's if you decided you wanted to put a gloss cover over maybe something that's already been printed before, and then you wanted to add that to it. It's nice that that option's in there. That's not going to print any color. That's just going to be a glossy, kind of a varnish finish to something. And then there's also the same option is for white. If you just wanted to print white on something, you could do that. That one, I don't totally know why they did it, but I'm sure there's a reason. Then we have CMYK and white. So that would be doing the color first and then the white. And I think the scenario there would be is if you had to do it reverse. So that might be like a sticker that you would be putting on the inside of something. I think you might use the CMYK and then the white. And then we start getting into CMYK white and CMYK. That also would be something that you would want bright on both sides, but you want the white color in the middle still to make it vibrant, so that you would be doing the color, then the white, and then the color again. Then we also have CMYK and just the gloss. Then we have white, CMYK, and gloss varnish. This one I use a lot. And then you'll see here we have UV DTF stickers, which we will be doing later today for the first time. I want to make all of these stickers, and that's going to be the very next thing I do. And then we have custom ink mode. And this is one I really like because this is one that I found works really well. And you can even save, I think you can save your custom ink modes, right? So yeah, let's see. What's this last one here? Yes, so this is one that I made. So this is a custom ink mode. And if you look here, you'll see we have 1 layer of white, 3 layers of color, and 1 layer of gloss varnish. And you can adjust these. Now, if you didn't want the gloss, I could take the gloss out and do no gloss. If you wanted it more glossy, you can add more layers. And this can also do printing that is dimensional. As I've told you guys, you can, if you look up top here, you'll see flat raised, relief texture. That's where it sinks the textures of the writing below and builds the other surfaces up high. It's a very cool thing. I'll show you that in a couple other tiles that I've done. There's pattern texture, and then custom texture is for 3D depth maps. So it needs a depth map, but you could literally build a depth map and tell it exactly what levels you want things to be at. That's used a lot in making like coins and different things like that. If you ever see with laser work, we use depth maps a lot, especially making like metal coins, and the laser kind of carves everything out. So that's what that is there. I have found that I really like still doing, as I said, 1 layer of white, because even though my tiles are white, I still wanted it to have a nice kind of finish to it. So I still always do the 1 layer, and then the 3 layers of color has been fine. I've actually even done 1 layer of white and 2 layers of color, and it comes out fantastic, and it saves a ton of ink. And let me show you how you can take a look and see how much ink you're using. So if you hit preview here, you can see down here ink estimate. And you can kind of bring it in and take a look and see, like, hey, does this look the way I want it to? And if I click ink estimate, it's going to calculate how much ink it's going to take to make that print. And you can see that is 0.61 mLs and 11 minutes. So that is not a whole lot of ink. Now, another thing you can do to get a discount on your ink, Eufymake has started offering auto shipping on their inks. And if you sign up for auto shipping, they knock a bunch of bucks off. So instead of like in the $40 for 100 milliliters, I was able to get $30 a cartridge, and all I had to do was go on auto ship. So I said, I knew I was going to use the white ink a lot. So I told it, send me a white cartridge once every 4 weeks, and you can adjust the amount of weeks as you go. So depending on how often you have it shipped, they adjust the discount, but the maximum discount was for one every 4 weeks. And I don't think I'm going to have any problem going through that. Let me tell you what this tile is going to cost me. So I'll have Alexa do it for me. Alexa, I'm paying $30 for 100 milliliters of ink. If I'm printing a tile that takes 0.61 mLs, what is it costing me in ink to make that coaster?
0.61 ml of ink costs about 18 cents.
18 cents. That's what it's costing me to make this. So I want to show you why it's important to kind of learn these different modes, because let's take another preset one. So I'll show you, like, let's go relief texture. These use a lot more ink. Now, it's a extremely cool result, and I'm going to show you what it is, but I'm also going to show you what you can do to always kind of save on inks here. Here we are, and you can see here now, right? You see this, I'll go to preview again, and look at this. So this is a dimensional one, and you can see we can adjust certain things here to add a texture to it. We can see that our printing is raised. And if you come up top here, you can see this is gonna raise this 2.5 millimeters, which is gonna use a ton of ink. And the smoothness setting is 7. And that's kind of, see the little rough texture in here. I don't love that. So on this, I would tell it that I want that to smooth that out some more. Maximum smoothing there are 10. So it took a little bit of that roughness out. But here's the other thing I want to show you. We can adjust the thickness, which is also going to would change the amount of ink it's going to use. But let's see on the standard just settings from them, other than the smoothness, which doesn't change the ink very much. I have tested that before. This is 6.57 milliliters to print this with 2.5 millimeters raised. Alexa, at $30 for 100 milliliters of ink, what would 6.57 milliliters cost me to print?
0.57 milliliters would cost about $1.97.
Okay, so $1.97 versus what we were at, like 19 cents. Big difference. Now, it's also a big difference in the look of the tile, but it's still not, I mean, that is not bad. At $1 and something, under $2 for something that's extremely cool, being 3D raised, that would look amazing. But here's another thing you can do. You don't have to go to that maximum thickness. So let's come up here. Okay, so here we go. We're going to crank this all the way down. Now, the lowest it can go for relief texture is 0.30. It's going to adjust the look a little bit. And let's go re-estimate. And you can still see we still have it raised. So we still have that raised relief, right? It still looks good. But now we're down to 1.72 milliliters. Now remember, our cartridge holds 100 milliliters, so 1.72 milliliters. That is gonna be a lot less than our last one. So Alexa, I need you right now. What would 1.72 milliliters cost me?
1.72 ml costs about 52 cents.
Okay, big savings, 52 cents versus almost $2 to make one. But you can see it's still gonna look fantastic. Now, if you don't want to do any of that raised and you're just totally fine with being flat print, now we're talking way less expensive. All right, so we're going to come back over here. I'm going to go back, and you can see it automatically defaults to high quality when you do those relief textures. Okay, so now we are back to the flat printing, and you can see it looks fantastic, and some people might even like this look better, right, for certain things. And you know, depending on how detailed you want to get into it, like I said, you could do, the outer part in relief, you could do the inner part. If you wanted to build it in pieces, you could do it with part of it flat. I am totally fine with doing this print in flat. In fact, I think it makes the artwork and the girls look better than having all the ripples from the texture on it. So we're gonna go with that flat, and we're gonna go with, I know I did 2 before, and that worked out well. Save ink mode and use directly next time. I'm going to tell it to save it, and we'll do one. So we're doing one layer of white because I like to still coat my white tiles even with the layer of white. We're going to do 2 layers of color and 1 layer of gloss. I think that looks good. Let's do our ink estimate. It should still be relatively low, 0.79 and 18 minutes for that. And actually, you know what? Let's do no gloss this time. Let's go back and let's make a new one. Let's make a new custom. I think we can add another custom ink mode here. Yeah, so we're gonna make a new one, and we're gonna do 1 layer of white and 2 layers of color. We're not gonna do any gloss, and I'll show you how great this looks. So 13 minutes and 0.52 ml. So very small. So here we go. Tell it to print, sending the file to the printer. So the next thing I'm going to do here is open up the sticker making laminator and all of that stuff. And we're going to see if we can make some transfer stickers. That's the next thing. I have a client who's wants to get a axe for the Navy engraved for a aircraft that's being retired, and they want to put this helicopter silhouette on this pretty good size axe. I would love to fit the axe head directly into the UV printer and see if we can print directly on it once it comes in. It's not here yet, but if we can't, my other thought is that we can use the sticker transfer method, because you really can't tell that it's a sticker. The really great thing about it is, from everyone that has these that I've seen that have been doing lots of stickers, the stickers hold up just as well as printing directly on the item, sometimes even better. Some people have said the stickers are just like, they just wear like iron, like things can be washed. And this is actually an item for display. It's going to be in like a retirement shadow box type thing, and only one side's going to be displayed. So we just need it to stick on there and stay in good shape and look great. But that's the one option I'm looking at, and why I wanted the sticker maker, because it's a really cool way to print on things that might be bigger than you can fit in your printer. All right, so this is almost completely transferred, 95%. It'll ask me to hit start here in a second, and then I'll show you this when it comes out. And then I'm going to get started on unboxing all the stuff to do stickers next, and we'll take a look at that. There it is. Okay, this print should be done, and we'll go from there. Over here, you can see my inks. So I still have about 1/4 of the gloss left. I have a whole lot of white, but I just changed the ink cartridge for the white for the first time. And you can see I've only used about 1/4, and these are my original colors. This printer does not use a ton of colored ink to make the colors. So the colored inks are going to be the ones that you need the least of. It's the white and gloss are definitely the 2 highest used ones. And then I would say black can be kind of the next one in there depending on what you print. And then your 3 primary colors, your cyan, magenta, and yellow, which make up every color in the world. That's why it uses those 3 colors. You can make any color with cyan, magenta, and yellow when you mix them. That's why we have those. Those are our primary colors. With that, it makes all the other colors that you see on these things that we print. And all right, so it's underway. It's starting. I see the machine going, and I'm going to go unpack the other stuff and just stop this recording for now. Okay, it just finished. Let's see how it did. So this is just our 2 layers of color and 1 layer of white. Yeah, and that looks really pretty good. Let me show you the whole collection here. So here's the pink one, and here's some of the others that you saw already. So really happy with how all of those came out. They look really cool. So now we're on to the stickers. All right, everybody, I got my laminator pulled out of the box. We're gonna get that set up. We're gonna set up to do our first round of stickers. They did include this nice tiny little paper cutter, and we are going to actually use that. I don't know if this was the intended purpose, I believe it was, to just be able to cut sheets down so that you don't have to use necessarily a full sheet. I noticed that some of the beta testers had sheets in both sizes, so they had big sheets and little sheets. Let me show you how big a sheet is here. So it's a good size, as you can see. And you can print on this entire thing, so you could make a sticker that is this big. So like for being able to put something like on a car or on, you know, pretty much anything big, you could go this big, or you could do a ton of little stickers on here. So what happens is we are going to take this. Now, I'm not going to use the giant bed and do a full sheet since this is the first time I'm doing it. I'm going to use a smaller sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this out here and use the smaller bed because it'll be a lot quicker than if we do a full giant sheet like this. And what I'm going to do is simply I'm going to cut one of these out so that we can use the small bed, and then we'll do our first round of a couple stickers and tests on this before we start using a big giant one. But what's really cool about this is I told you about the one job of the fire axe. I also have a laser engraving job to do of a emblem on some whiskey glasses, but I also want to see how viable this would be for just doing the same type of emblem on a glass. So it might be an easier process to do certain logos, and especially if someone wanted something color, this would for sure be the way to go and do that. So there's a lot of really cool possibilities here of signs and just different things that you can make. Now, to remind you what this does here, we have a little small area, maybe a 1/4 inch or about, I would say, I don't know, maybe 5 millimeters on each side where there's no sticky anything. That's to help you when you have to peel this off later. We're going to put this in on top of either one of our beds, our small bed or our large bed. We're going to use the small one. We're going to cut this so it fits right on here. We're going to smooth it out on here. And then there is a film on here, and we're going to remove that top layer of film, and we're going to print directly on this. We have to load this laminator. And here is the deal here. So when we take this thing apart and unpack this, you're going to pull this out and just pull the plastic. There's just a, plastic over top of this. This is the lamination, as you can see here. And what it tells you to do is that we're going to sit it up top here. And the first time it's going to thread it for us. So we have to pull this out and lay it, from what I can tell, just across this here. And it said about 4 inches. And then we're going to turn it on and run something through it. And then I believe it will be fed and in the proper way for laminating things from there on. We won't have to do this every time. This is just the initial time we're doing it. Another thing to note is this machine doesn't turn on until it is completely closed and locked down. So if you're thinking, oh, it's broken, it won't power up, I did notice this. So once this is down in here and these are locked in, which holds this in place, if this lid is not shut, the power won't turn on. So see how my power light's on? But if you don't have the lid shut, it disables the power immediately. So if you try and turn it on in the back while you're getting this set up and you're like, oh, it didn't turn on, don't worry. It's a safety feature. When the lid's up, this thing is off. When the lid's closed, then it will turn on and work that way. So just know that, because at first I was like, is this broken? Why is it not turning on? And then I realized, oh, it's a safety feature. If the lid's not closed, the laminator doesn't turn on. I just want to measure how much I need to cut of that big sheet to make a small sheet that I can use right here. Oh, about, I'm going to say if we cut it at 90 millimeters, I think we will be good. I mean, here's 90 here. All right, so here's our 90. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna pull this back to where I know my 90 millimeters is. Okay, so there's my cut line, right about there. That should be pretty close right there to 90 millimeters. All right, let's see how this does. I'm gonna push down, do my slide. Okay, that worked pretty well. There's our cut. So pretty decent little cutter. All right, I found all my other parts. So here's the little pick they give you to help get the film up. And then we have a little kind of like squeegee. I got 2 of these. I got another one here that I have in my shop, so I grabbed that. But this one's nice. It looks like this is a hard one, which is good sometimes for certain films, as opposed to this one, which is like a rubbery soft one. They tend to grab a little more. So I'm gonna make sure I don't lose this. Although you could use probably anything plastic and smooth for that. And I think, you know what? I'm gonna peel this off. This is the transfer tape that I use, but it's not on here perfectly flat. I want these stickers to be perfectly flat the first time. So let's just peel this off. And we'll use the actual Eufymake sticky bed. I try and preserve these as much as I can because they cost a lot more than using other things. So a lot of people will use silicone mats and different things. But for this, we do actually need to stick this to this bed. We need to stick dull side. The shiny side goes up. So I'm just going to turn this and align this right here. Because we're going to leave plenty of space around our stickers. Now I got this little roller, so I'm going to use this to make sure it's just nice and flat on our bed, on our short bed. Now I can use their little tool. And this is the part where I'm curious to see what happens here. So people said that a lot of times when they pick this up, a lot of the glue came with it. So to be careful and try not to have all the glue come up with it. Aha, there we go. Okay, I see what they're saying, yeah, about the glue. See that glue right there? Now, one trick that I know, I don't know if it would work here or not. Let's get that glue back down. Ooh, that is some sticky glue. Sometimes if you can keep a really low angle, yeah, it's still peeling some of that glue. I see what people are saying about the glue. See if we can get it started. Not bad. Oh, a little bit coming off down this end. Yeah, once that starts on you, it's probably hard to stop. There we go. All right. Yeah, you probably can't get that really fixed. Okay. But you'll see, yeah, so we got a little bit of, that is some sticky glue. All right, so we got a little tiny damage there and a little tiny damage there. So we just want to make sure we don't put any of our stickers in those two spots. But no big deal. And if you were doing a big sheet, obviously not a big deal. But yeah, I would say that wasn't too bad. I've seen some videos of people really struggling to get that off, and that causing a problem for some people. So let's go throw this into the printer, and then we will set up some of our stickers and get them printing, and we'll go from there. So we're going to take out the big bed. I'm going to leave this up here so I don't get a bunch of stuff on it. There we go. All right. Got our bed released. And I 3D printed these really cool holders for mine, so I can store my beds. I have a place to store them on. I have this cool 3D printed holder, so I don't have to. I used to slide them under here, but they were getting really dusty and dirty under there, and I didn't like doing that. All right, so we got our film piece. We're using our smaller tray, which prints a lot faster, so this shouldn't take too long. I did see a lot of people saying it took like an hour to do one of those big giant sheets, so we're going to do a small sheet just to get the feel for doing this. Okay, so let's head over to the computer and we'll just set up our stickers. So in the meantime, we need to set up the laminator. All we have to do here is run the card that was in the lid through. So we pull out 4 inches worth, and then it says line it up with the left side of the printer, make sure it's very straight, and then just push this through. And you only have to do this the one time until I guess you run out and have to put another roll of lamination in. And that's where the card was, right up top here. So we're going to take that card and we're just going to push it through and then cut it off and then pull that back out so we can save it for the next time we have another roll. And then when the stickers are done, we're going to run them through the laminator. So we can turn it on when this is done. We can turn the heat on with that big square button on the right-hand side. So right now, there's no heat. We're just threading the machine. This is going to put the lamination film in the proper spot. And it automatically, it just grabbed it and took it right through. Now, it's not turned on right now other than just the motor's running. There's no heat or anything. And then what I did after it ran it through, we're going to go to the other side and use the built-in cutter to cut it off. Now, make sure you hold on to this card. You can pull it right out. Remember, the heating part's not turned on, so it didn't laminate this. It just used it to thread it. Now we're going to store that card right back in the lid of that machine. It's got little lips where that'll hold it up there. So the next time you need to thread a new roll in when you run out of lamination, you'll have that little card to run through there. All right, everybody. So I placed all my stickers, and you'll see I made one more one to get a kick out of. So that is me. And I told it, I basically said, I want myself and the model from this other picture together with my new product down in the bottom right corner, and our motto from our website for alxstore.com, which is we believe sharpeners deserve better, showing our new angle guide. I decided we would use girls like sharp things, men, knives, etc. And there it is. And I think it's pretty cool and also quite funny. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So there we go. So here's all our sample stickers. We got them on the Eufymake smaller bed, so that shouldn't take too long. I know the big bed, almost everybody was saying it takes about an hour to print a full on the big bed. Everyone told me that standard quality works good on stickers, that you don't need to use high quality. So we're going to do that. And then the other thing we need to do is we need to tell it that these are going to be stickers. And there is a setting for that. Let's see. Yeah, UV DTF stickers. So we're going to go UV DTF stickers. The sticker ink mode cannot be printed together with other ink modes. Do you want to change the mode of all objects on he print bed to flat sticker? Yes. Okay, that was nice. So it knew to change all of them to flat sticker for us, which I appreciate that. It looks like it did that. So we got everything on there. And then all of these are just our other artwork. And we're just gonna move these all over. Unlike the laser, we don't have to worry about the stuff that's not on the print bed, which is pretty cool. So it won't try and print those things that are not on the print bed. So we hit preview, and there we go. There's what our stickers will look like. Looks pretty good. Let's estimate ink and time. 18 minutes, not bad at all. That's a lot better than an hour. So it looks like if you got to make some stickers, the large print bed almost always on other creators I saw said it took an hour. 18 minutes, that is not bad at all. So we are going to get started. I'm going to tell it to print, and there it goes. Sending the file to the device. This should be pretty interesting. Really curious to see how these come out. I have a lot of high hopes for these stickers. All right, we'll stop this for now. I will jump back in when the printing is all done and show you the results of the sticker, and we'll see what we can do with them. All right, the timer just went off. Let me know that the little bell went off. Let me know that the printer's done. There's our stickers. I'm just going to release the whole bed and take the whole bed out over to where we're going to be working. And I'll just swing this around. Oh boy, it looks like I just placed it. Remember we had a little bit of damaged sticky stuff up there. Looks like I just placed that just right. We didn't get any in the bad area where the sticky came up. But they look really good. So the next part, all we have to do now is peel up our sticker, the paper. And remember, our paper had a little piece here and a little piece here where there is no sticky. So I can touch right here and right here with no problem because there's a little tiny bit that they purposely did not cover with adhesive. So all I have to do now is just get this started here and start to peel this up. Alrighty, it's coming pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna move my small bed out of the way. I'm grabbing this by the two little sides where it doesn't have any sticky. And we are going to now thread our machine. Now my machine says it's ready too. After I did the threading, I hit the heat button and now I have green lights on everything. It says it's ready for the film. So we're gonna line that up. And I'm just gonna feed this in, and it grabbed it. And there it goes. I'm gonna move this over here so you can see it come out the other side. So there's our lamination. Okay, we're gonna cut it off. Okay. I think this extra was because I think that was from me. I don't know if it always does that extra that much, or if I kind of triggered the sensor when I started to put it through. So now we should be able to cut these out and then use them as a regular sticker. And I'll show you that. But it's a little different than, I don't want to say a regular sticker because it's not really a regular sticker. It's a super duper strong sticker that really doesn't have any type of paper backing. So the paper part on here is what we will be peeling away. So let's get a good pair of scissors here. I'm going to start by cutting off this excess that I just don't feel like dealing with. Now they did recommend that if you give these stickers out or sell them, that you can or might want to consider printing the instructions on the back side so people know how to use them, because they are a little bit different than what we might call regular sticker. Here's our big sticker. I think I'm going to stick that on my coffee cup. Yeah, these are fun. All right, so let's see what happens now. All right, so here we go. Just trim this a little bit more. I definitely want to trim this top part. I was a little concerned about that area where we had the glue come up. All right, so that's done. Let me just dry this. I'm going to go clean and dry my coffee cup off before we stick it on here. All right, so I brought my coffee cup over to the side where I have a little vise over here. But I got to tell you, I just saw the coolest little thing. It was for sublimation printers. It's designed to hold tumblers because sublimation people use a lot of sticker type things from my understanding. And it's designed to help put stickers on tumblers and all kinds of like drinkware. And I just ordered one. It was $27. But I was like, you know what? That would totally work for what we're doing here. In the meantime, I'm going to make this work. But I'll put a link in the video description and show you what I'm talking about. I just ordered it. It'll be here on Tuesday. In the meantime, we're going to try and do this the old-fashioned way. So I took a little adjustable PLA pieces I have over here for another thing for engraving to hold the cup handle up, because we want to place this kind of right here in the middle, because this is the side that I hold. And let me just show you this cup because it's my favorite cup, so it's really cool. I looked for something like this for the longest time. So I have a real bad habit of putting my coffee cup down and then walking off and then coming back to it later, and then my coffee's cold. And I tried a little heating plate for a while, but it didn't help the fact that I always walk off and just leave my cup places. But this one, you can turn it on. It's rechargeable. And it heats the coffee up, and it tells you the temperature over here. It's got 3 different settings for the coffee temperature. It's just awesome. And it charges on a little thing on my desk over there, but it is exactly what I always wanted in a coffee cup, a little self-heating coffee cup. And it can even get hot enough to, like, you can make tea and stuff in here too on the highest setting. It's really hot. I don't drink tea, but I only use the bottom 2 settings. But I just figured I would show you that. It's called a Buo. Buo. All right, so there we go. But let's see if we can place my new sticker for alxstore.com with our angle guides with me and Allie, and see if we can get this on here nice and straight without screwing it up. And I kind of just want it right here in the middle. So it shouldn't be too hard to do. Okay, here we go. I'm going to grab the little pick you saw me using earlier to get that film up. Now let's see, if I line that top edge up, and my head is pretty much the middle of the sticker. So if I line that top edge up with my head, yeah, we should be good. All right, I'm going to move, sorry guys, I got to move the camera out of the way because I got to be in the right position. I don't want to ruin my coffee cup here. Or the sticker. I can live if the sticker gets destroyed, but no big deal. But let's see if we can get this nice and straight. Okay. Now we'll do like we're supposed to. People say really push. Because once it locks and holds, it's apparently on there pretty darn good. And people wash them and do all kinds of stuff, and it just doesn't come off. And I only hand wash this coffee cup because of the electronics. It can't go in the dishwasher. That's the only thing with this charging one, but that's fine. I always hand wash it anyway. All right, I'd say that is been rubbed very well. Let's do the next part and see if we can peel it off and not destroy the sticker. So far, so good. There we go. Look at that. Ha ha! Success. Oh yeah, that is on there. That is so cool. So there's my new coffee cup with me on it. Yeah. No ego there. Look at that. How cool is that? Now, probably somebody more artistic than me and smarter might have, worked the colors in a little bit better with the blue and black, but, I'm still pretty happy with it. That is really cool. All right, so that is done. Got my new coffee cup, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. And that is how to use the Eufymake Laminator and Sticker Maker. And I'll talk to y'all soon. I'll leave links in the description for the Eufymake. Its launch is still going on. It's a great time to pick it up if you're interested in it. If you guys haven't seen, I got other things showing other things I've made with it. I've made a lot of coasters. I've printed on my knife sleeves. When I sell my knives from Tasky, I've made custom sleeves for that. I've made custom gifts. It's worked out great. I've used it for real estate gifts. I have some real estate agents that have been giving knives as housewarming gifts. Just so many things. And that's basically the point I'm just trying to get you guys to realize, and why I said this is one of the things I'm most excited about for my business is all the uses that this UV printing has. It's just literally mind-blowing. And this is just one more really cool thing are these UV DTF transfer stickers that are super strong, hard as iron, and you can use these to kind of print on anything that you couldn't necessarily fit in your machine. Now, I'm not saying I couldn't fit this in the machine. I might have been able to, but I've also been told by a lot of people that it's actually easier sometimes to do this type of transfer sticker and that they actually work better on certain things. So I wanted to give it a shot, and there you go. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.